cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's time again, you cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's the #1 podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a corporate standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast for another episode of Black Friday. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host, Freddie G, Flash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, fellas? Welcome to another episode of Black Friday. I thought since this is election time here in Houston, we would discuss how important it is to get out and cast your vote. Do your civic duty, especially those of the African American culture. I want our listeners to understand that our vote does matter. A lot of times, especially the younger generation, they probably feel that voting doesn't.
What difference is it?
Yeah, they feel that it really doesn't matter, and they already think. I think a lot of them feel in their head that they already have in their mind who's going to be in what position. Right. So they really don't understand, that these votes do actually count. Mm-hmm. And they do have a say. Mm-hmm. So we always said, I know in several shows, how we're stronger in numbers. So if they can get out there and show or cast that vote for who they feel will be best in that position, then they really can complain when things don't go right. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people out there that they'll definitely express their point of view, but they haven't done their civic duty. So I feel like if you haven't done it,
then how can you complain?
Yeah, why are you complaining? Because you're not trying to do anything to make any of the changes.
Right, I get that.
And this is where it starts. Putting the right people in office, and this is one of those elections that
where it really counts.
Yeah, well,
actually, this is the one.
This one really counts as far as citywide, statewide. This is the one that really counts for what happens in your communities.
Right, exactly, in your community. Community.
So that's why it's important that we get out and make our vote count because of this situation. It's necessary right now. Presidential elections are a little slightly different, although not to turn you away from voting for that. But I mean, this one is what really affects you directly. Basically,
well, like you said earlier, your community, the people that we're voting for locally are the ones that impact our community. These are the ones that you want to send your complaints to. When you feel that changes do need to be made,
and you want to know that they're gonna do something.
But definitely do your research on the candidates that's running.
Right.
Make sure you understand
who they
what
are,
they stand for, and if what they stand for favors you.
That's right.
I think that drives a lot of people away because they don't want to do that research.
Right.
We piggyback off of the next man, which that may not benefit you.
Yeah.
So again, knowing who's running and what they're representing is extremely important.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you don't do your part, then what's the point? Like you said earlier, Slash.
Yeah.
And currently, this is the early voting, so you have, I can understand people are busy.
Right, right.
But you can make time for it because we make time for doing other things.
Everything you want to do.
So, that's just an excuse.
Yeah.
I plan to get out there and do my civic duty this week doing early voting because I like to take advantage of this time. I don't really like standing in the long line, which is another excuse.
Another thing,
Yep.
People don't want to stand in those long lines on the day of voting.
But you waited till last minute to do it.
And of
that's
course,
why.
That's by choice, but again, that's not the benefit, but that's the result from waiting till the last minute. You have to sacrifice and stand in that long line.
Yeah.
But again, our votes do count, and as you know, we're dealing with a lot in the hoods nowadays, especially in
Right.
H-Town. You know, they trying to move us out.
Right.
You know, with the gentrification
Yeah.
and all of that. So
Right.
this is one way we can fight back.
By
know.
voting.
I voted.
Yeah. At least our tax dollars are increased some sort of way where we not paying as much. Something that'll help put back or give back, you know, because that's what we don't see a lot of. You know, take some of that tax stuff away for a minute and let us actually see some money, because the more you taxing us, the least we have in our pocket.
You saying you want to see what this money is being, what it's being
And where is
spent
it
on.
going?
What is
Yeah.
it?
We already paying taxes for certain stuff like the beltways and all of this.
And that shit seems like it's been going on forever.
Hey, man.
It's always
We
they
ain't never
always
stopped
work.
paying
Yeah,
for
I've
that
never
stuff.
seen. I've always seen the sign of the beginning construction.
Yeah,
but I ain't
just-
never seen. Hey, this is it.
Yeah.
We're done. We're finished. I
But
ain't-
that's why we need somebody in office that can tell us where that money's going so we can
Right.
better understand.
Okay, like you say,
You know,
tell us to where we understand.
To where we understand it.
because they telling us what they telling us what we want, what they want us to hear, basically.
Right. Instead of the way we can understand it. You know, I think that's maybe what we're missing, but that's the type of politician that you look for that can help you understand what
But they-
everything is about.
But some of them be slick with it. They'll say, yeah.
Well,
I'll
yeah,
do-
because they lie.
Yeah, I do some construction, so they'll park a couple of trucks
Yeah.
over there. Nobody never get them, and they'll be parked
Yeah.
over there a couple of years, and then they'll.
Let me ask y'all a question, man. And I'm not asking who you're voting for, but I want to ask because I've watched several of these commercials of the candidates that's running, and I think I've seen a couple of commercials where they're throwing slugs at the career-long politicians.
Yeah.
You know, like Sheila Jackson Lee. You know, we know her because she's been
Yeah.
in office for a minute.
Yeah.
And again, the commercials that's running are basically against her, basically saying, you know, more or
Don't-
less, you know, they've been in
Yeah.
office this long and nothing has
Nothing's
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? You know, because I feel very confident in Sheila Jackson Lee,
I
and,
do,
and
too.
that's who I am voting
I
for. I have
agree.
no problem saying that.
I agree.
It's a
Yeah.
tactic. It's just, you know, they always throw shade on each other.
Yeah.
So you don't agree with because they've been there this long?
No,
and-
no, not at all. I go the opposite way. She's been there that long. She knows the process.
Here's my thought on that. Honestly, I trust her
Yes.
to get in there and do
And that plays
what
a-
I expect
right.
from her,
Right.
from what I've seen her do. You know,
You're more familiar with her than you are the other.
yeah,
the other
she'll
people
do.
running.
Yeah, she'll do a lot of organization in the black community for whatever kind of event.
Right.
That's what I like about her. That's the
Exactly.
type of stuff we need, because that gets the youth involved in politics.
Exactly.
Number one, you know, so I like what she do, and yeah, I'd vote for her.
I would too.
So you guys have no problem with the career long
No,
politician
not with
that's currently running.
not with her.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, she knows what needs to be done. I'd rather go with the experience.
Well, Whitmire's another one that's running, and he's also a career long.
Yeah,
And
but
you know,
I don't-
You know what's so bad about that? I'm not sure if that Whitmire is the same. He's kin to the Kathy Whitmire.
Kathy Whitmire, that was
he
mayor
is.
Oh,
back
that
in the.
sucks.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I'ma
the
tell
same
You know
family.
what's so sad? This one's the hardest because Kathy Whitmire.
She was real.
Kathy Whitmire. My mom worked at Woolworth. Kathy Whitmire. We come and eat lunch, and only out of all the lady waitresses, she would only talk to my mom
Really?
every day.
Yeah, I remember
time.
Kathy
She was
Whitmire.
So
She
it's
was
like
real.
it's hard because he's there,
Well-
and my mom passed. So you guys know.
But the
so,
name
so
alone-
that's kind of emotional because it's like I know if he's anything like her,
Right. But see, that's what I'm
you
saying.
see what the problem
The
comes
name
from me?
alone doesn't make him the same characteristic that she had. So you can't just go off the name and say,
they
"Oh
sister,
yeah,
brother,
just because
husband,
that's
wife.
the
What are
last
they?
name."
Sister, brother, husband,
I don't know if there's any relation at all, but Slash is making
That's
a,
what I'm
a
asking.
valid
Yeah,
point.
because of the last name, you can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna vote for him because of what her values was," because he may have a completely different thing in mind.
Exactly.
So the research or the homework on it is
Right.
what's necessary in that
Exactly.
type of situation.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah, that
I
makes
understand the Whitmire
Yeah,
name
so it's,
from
it's
before.
more touching for me because
So
of
you would
my-
vote for him because his sister, if that was a relation,
if they
talk
were
to your
relations,
mom.
If I found out they were relations, it'd be hard. I would still. Oh,
It
it'd
would
be
be
hard.
hard for you
totally
not-
I'll
against.
tell you, I would put "I'm sorry" next to his ballot, and then I would vote for Sheila. But I would say, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I gotta go with Sheila.
He wouldn't know who you voted.
I know,
for,
but I
though,
still
man.
got just out of.
Yeah, he wouldn't know it's you.
This lady talked to my
You have a
mom,
right.
and they would have.
So you feel obligated that you need to
Not
vote for this man
obligated,
because
but whenever why would a mayor come talk to my? Do you get what I'm saying?
She
Like
human.
all the people in Houston,
they're human though.
Yeah,
bro.
I know,
Yeah.
but she comes actually to eat lunch. My mom was a cook
Yeah.
at Woodward. She would come to the actually and sit down, order lunch, and talk to my mom.
You talking about the Woolworth downtown?
Downtown, that used to be downtown. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Man,
you
I
gotta
used to love
understand
to
if
go in
you
that
if you
Woolworth.
actually leaving where you coming your office to come all the places in Houston to come to my mom's place to eat.
Now this was at the time she was the
downtown.
mayor.
Yeah. So yeah, she was a mayor at the time.
Okay.
So you gotta understand how hard it is.
So for you, it's more of
Yeah, it's like if a person's doing that, man, I'm pretty sure those traits run in your family. You get what I'm saying? I don't think it's
because
gonna
you
stop
know
at Kathy.
the family.
Yeah, it's gonna run in the family. I don't think.
Whitmire was born before '64.
Yeah. So the same mind frame of the
Everybody
the,
that was
the
born
slave
before,
owner.
I know, but everybody born before 60, all the movies, there was always even a white person that was like they was not with the slavery. Rosewood, for example, there was a couple that just wasn't with the slavery. They was trying to help. So everybody's not racist. So get what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody's
I don't
not
believe.
racist.
I believe.
So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. If she comes to all the places in Houston, look at it. Look at it that way. Houston's the fourth largest city in Houston, and she could go anywhere. They should probably have her own private chef, but she
Yeah.
comes to my mom's job to
But
talk to
but
her.
you looking at
to
it
me, it's
from
more.
It's emotional. for
Yeah,
you.
it's
and
more-
that's not the way to vote for.
I'm sorry, this one is.
the-
I know it's not. It's not. You
for
right.
the other Whitmire because you don't know his values. What is
Exactly,
he?
you
He
right.
might be full Klansman
I agree with you.
action.
I agree with you. I agree. I totally agree. And it's not the way to vote. But again, I just said I gotta say I'm sorry to him, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna vote
see,
for Sheila.
But see, I don't want you to send the
Hey.
wrong message thinking that you have to be emotional.
Kathy
to
Whitmire
vote.
is his sister-in-law,
Okay, so they family.
in-law,
They
sister-in-law.
say in-laws.
So she was married to his brother because it's his last name.
Well, true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So she's not kin to him at all.
at all. So the values can very much so be
Yeah,
different.
because her husband may not have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of getting off topic now, but
No, we're still talking about voting.
well, we're
talking about voting, but we're not talking about.
Well, we want to know. We want to talk about it and convince our voters how their vote does count and it matters.
It does.
Um,
we just started specifically talking about my vote.
Well, just some of the things to think about when it comes to voting.
Oh, you're right.
Basically,
you got a point.
is what
Or
we
how you
talking
choose
about.
to vote.
How
Yeah,
you choose.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
everybody gonna have their own way of doing it.
True.
But
10 minutes. Huh?
it's best to do it rather than not do it. But know at least the history on the person. That's around or that you thinking about voting for. That's my outlook on it.
Okay, I appreciate
You know.
that, fellas. Freddie G, how you feel about voting, man? I know you're a very intelligent fella, and you're into a lot of the politics that's going on in America nowadays. And I know you plan on getting out there and well, I know you're gonna do your civic.
You gotta do your civic duty.
Yeah. So all right. So check it out, man. So I listened to you guys, and a lot was said. So first things first, to our listeners who are outside of Houston, I'm sure y'all know who Sheila Jackson Lee is in regards to Congresswoman. But Sheila Jackson Lee is currently running for the mayor of Houston.
Correct.
Yes.
And so I think that first and foremost, she would get my vote, and here's why. She would get my vote because I see her doing the work.
Right.
And I think a lot of times black folk may feel like their vote don't count because they don't know the candidates, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
And because they don't know the candidates, they feel like, okay, well, I don't know who I'm voting for, what these people stand for.
Right.
But on top of that, whether you believe it or not, in order for you to know the candidates, you do have to follow politics a little bit.
Okay.
And a lot of people of color do not follow politics.
At all.
And if you don't follow politics,
You don't know.
you don't know who these candidates are. And the first time you hear about these candidates is when you see smear campaigns that you speak of earlier, K Money. Nobody that's running against someone is going to put out a good campaign
Never.
about their
That person.
the
Their
people that they're
opponent.
running against.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
So they're going to all put out smear
Some
campaigns.
kind of dirt. Yeah.
And so what that tells me is that what I already know, but everybody got some dirt.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nobody walking the face of this earth clean.
That right.
So everybody got some dirt. So they're going to put out smear campaigns. If there is a candidate that chooses to run based on merit and not smearing campaigns, you just won't hear them talk about the other candidates at all. You won't hear them put out. You won't hear them see their commercials of smear campaigns.
Yeah.
You'll see positive commercials about themselves
Right.
and themselves only.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, man, our vote do count. But part of the reason why some of us may not believe that our vote count is we don't understand the political side of it
Right.
all.
Right.
And then some people walk around thinking that they can't vote.
Yeah.
And for several reasons. Of course, most obvious when you're dealing with felons.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, a lot of felons feel like they can't
They
vote,
can't,
but they
right.
vary from state to state.
Right.
And I can tell you in the state of Texas, if you are a felon, you can vote.
You can.
So now, in addition to that,
That's good knowledge, though, to have.
But
Yeah.
I got a question on that. Did they just change that? Like maybe
no,
some years? It's
no,
always they've always
no,
been able to
I ain't
vote?
gonna say it's always been that way, but I can tell you this.
Because
I can tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely say within about the last 15 years, I can definitely
That's-
say that.
yeah, that's what I was.
But I feel comfortable in saying that it was probably longer than that.
Right.
It's just that we're misinformed.
Yeah, that's
A
what I
lot,
was saying.
a lot of black folks are misinformed.
All I've always known, I swear, was felons can't vote.
No.
Didn't matter
No,
what state. That's all I've known.
A lot of
And
black
now
folks
you,
are misinformed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You educating me now.
Yeah,
Now
that's
I
some
know.
good information to put out there for
Yeah.
those that didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of
know.
black folks are misinformed.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Not knowing. And then, too, when you're not knowing what these candidates stand for,
Mm-hmm.
when you don't know, you only seeing, like, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
there are 3 veterans at the table, right?
Right.
Well, there's some laws that these candidates believe in that actually would benefit us as veterans, right? But they'll put other bills that they want to pass in these packages, and some of these bills that they want to pass in this package would deter a veteran from voting because it's all jacked up.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
package look good over here. This package is good, but it's
No.
some jacked up stuff in there that we
Yeah,
don't
like for instance, right?
Yeah.
I think one of those packages. This was some where they wanted to do the transgenders using the women's restroom.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Well, there's some other good stuff in that package, right? That could help some veterans,
Oh.
but
okay, yeah.
you got to pick your poison.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's it
saying.
right there.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Some good
stuff,
in
so
there.
stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Then-
it's,
yeah,
it's
all
like
that.
it's helping the veterans, but some transgender gonna be
Yeah.
in your restroom at the same
Yeah.
time. So you stuff what I. Oh, man.
And all of that stuff is that Democratic and Republican Party, man, and the side that you lean on, and black folks are kind of geared to vote Democratic.
Right. Which
That's
is-
why I
that's
tell
true.
a lot of people that when they ask me about what am I, a Democrat or a Republican, I tell them that I'm independent. However, I lean more toward Democratic views.
Right.
Right.
But if
you know
it-
that's changing though. I haven't seen this many black Republicans, which is okay because we're entitled to our own point of view or opinion. And again, this is your civic duty to do, but I haven't seen. I've never seen this many black Republicans express their opinions, and I guess this is what you call that Trump residue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on top of that too, when I think of Republican too, so like if I see a black Republican, and this doesn't apply to all black Republicans, but a lot of times when I hear black Republican, the first thing that tells me, oh, you got some money and you want to keep it.
That is the first thing.
That is the first thing. Yeah.
that they are.
Yeah.
Well,
I think, okay, you got some money and you want to keep it.
yeah.
You don't
Because Republicans, I don't want to get too deep into my political views, but bottom line is, without getting too deep into my political views, when I think of black Republicans, the first thing comes to mind, you make a little money and you want to keep it, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're rich,
Right.
Yeah.
but if you're close to six figures,
Yeah.
if you're really close to six
well
figures,
Yeah, you want to.
you're like, okay, well, damn, I want to keep my money, and that leans the values in keeping your bread and the monetary
Change.
value that
Yeah.
take precedence over certain things that the Republicans may put out there that I don't agree with, you know. So if I was a millionaire, I won't just vote Republican because I know that I got a good chance of keeping my millions.
Right.
Nah, some of the stuff I just can't rock with what they do.
I think
That was the BNN. Black
folks are
News
discouraged. Folks get discouraged also, man. I think because possibly they vote in one election and that candidate that they voted for don't win, so they possibly have in their mind, man, I vote, but it don't count.
never
You know what I'm
work.
saying?
Yeah.
They get that mentality, but it just so happens in that election your candidate didn't win.
Yeah. Then too, you got to look at. Like the equipment and all that stuff. There is voting, whether the fraud, the rigging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where-
And we've been hearing too
Right.
much of that lately
Yeah,
in the
and
last
we
several
feel-
elections.
And we feel
Yeah.
like they'll go in the black community, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of votes that ain't counting because they rigging it to where the blacks
rigging it, yeah.
can't vote because they know most blacks are going to vote
Yeah.
Democrat anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
And so if this Democratic
Yeah.
candidate gets all these black votes, that'll push them over the top.
And he'll win it.
And so let's go hide some of these
Let's hide
votes,
some of
or
these
let's
votes.
make sure they get the trashy
right.
voting machines. So
Out of the black neighborhood.
yeah. So
It's crazy.
that stuff plays a factor as
Or
well.
they try to confuse them, the elderly, or make it hard, for them to get their vote out, or like you said, they have several ways, like the mail-in votes, making them feel as if those votes don't count.
Yeah.
But again, I want to stress how important that our vote does matter. So please, if you're listening, get out there and cast your vote. Right now, you have early voting going on, as I stated earlier, and the actual voting day is on November 7th, which is the last day that you'll be able to cast your vote. And like I said, if you don't vote, then you may as well keep your opinion to yourself. The Black History fact that I wanted to talk about today, the first African American that won a gold medal was done in 1908. That was John Baxter Taylor, the son of former slaves. He won the gold in the 4x4 meter relay in the 1908 Summer Olympics in London.
Boy, it was a beast.
Yeah, I guess he was.
Well, 4x4 though. That must mean three white folks was up.
Three
Three
other-
white folks because
right.
if he was the first black. My bad for
No,
interrupting.
but they don't mention, who was on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he
it
the
was
first
other-
black folks, and that's a 4x4 relay, that
Yeah,
means
three
there had to be
white
three white people with it.
And I'm sure he probably ran anchor.
Yeah, right.
This
Before we
concludes
get
our
up out of
show
here, I
for
wanna
Black
remind you
Friday.
guys
If you
about
haven't
the
done
fifth
so
annual
already,
Cancer
follow
Awareness
us on
Comedy
Twitter
Show that's
at
coming up.
52 Scott Podcast.
November 11th,
Also on
it's going to
Facebook
be held
and
at Johnny
Instagram
Blues
at
Grill and
52 Scott
Seafood
Podcast.
off of
Also,
9755
like and
West
subscribe
Palmer
if you
Road.
haven't done so on
You can get
YouTube.
tickets from Eventbrite. You can get them at the door. And if you see any of the fellas out and about, don't hesitate. Come up to us and ask us if we have any tickets on us. We'd be more than happy to help you guys. But again, 52 Scott Podcast hosting the 5th annual Cancer Awareness Comedy Show hosted by Grossman and also starring the Comic Crew. So y'all come out and join us on this evening and have a good time. This concludes another Hot Black Friday episode. And be sure you tune in next week for Music Monday. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast. And for all you YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe.